Hawkins, what are you saying?
I am. Oh, just sat here with a tea.
Is it? Getting ready for some sweat.
How is it? What's your first 2 days of lockdown like then?
Pretty standard, pretty boring.
Yeah.
Just actually not boring. Actually, I've actually been real busy. Like I said it a couple of times the other day. Like I think people have got to use this lockdown as it's a second chance to have a go at something. Like first lockdown, I think we all had like the best intentions, didn't really know what it was about, and we're kind of like now we got a chance to like, well, I've got a second chance. What am I, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, however long it's going to be, hopefully 4 weeks, 4 weeks, try and do something in those 4 weeks. So whatever, like Foxy's doing his nutrition stuff, try and eat well for 4 weeks, try and train hard for 4 weeks, try and learn a new skill, get a qualification. I think it's a second chance to actually do it this time. And I'm definitely way more motivated this time round.
Yeah, I think people also found the routine they did. I found a routine last time. And now we're in lockdown. It's like, right, I've got to do what I did back then. I've just got to do that for 4 more weeks. You can find, you know what I mean? I don't have to find your feet the same way you did last time.
100%, bro. 100%. So yeah, I'm just kind of just cracking on, really. Just giving myself like a routine, daily routine. Get up, do a workout, do some studying, do a workout in the evening, then just use the evening to chill, watch some TV, do something like that.
Yeah.
So
what did you do on the first lockdown? What did you kind of do? How did you change up your training routine and stuff?
First lockdown was a bit different. So like recently with my training and stuff, because I tore my shoulder, I've got a lot more functional lately, and I've had to do a lot of shoulder rehab, but at the same time I've done a lot more cardiovascular work, which I've really enjoyed. Like going into this lockdown, I'm probably the fittest I've been from a cardio perspective. So I'm actually going to find it easier, because last lockdown I was like, I need to find as many weights as I can and just do bench press and squat as much as I can. And last time I was doing just loads of standard bodybuilding stuff, which is quite difficult in a garage with what I've got. So actually this time I only really need a bar and just kind of be a bit functional. So from a workout perspective, it was, I stayed pretty focused, but it was, working out is only kind of 30% of the equation, isn't it? It's what's your mentality like? What's your stress level like? How are you sleeping? How are you eating? Like that affects all the results. And like last lockdown, it wasn't happening. I'd be fucking up till 2 a.m. I'd be out of routine. I'd be eating what the fuck I want because, everyone was feeling a bit like that. So that's where I'm really, really trying to make a difference this time. So like training wise, I'm still going to be, I trained last lockdown. I'm going to train this lockdown, but it's everything around the training that's going to change for me.
Yeah, I did the same as you. I took some dumbbells home last time. I thought, cool, I'm just going to do bodybuilding stuff with dumbbells. That's all I'm going to do. And then I'll tell you what, we're going to be in for like 3 months. My idea was I'm going to try and put some weight on. Try and get a bit buff, a bit beefier than I am. Which I did. I did do it in about 5 months in total, because when we went back to the gym, I kept doing it. And then I went for a run with somebody and I absolutely died. And I was like, I felt like crap now. So after all these months of trying to put weight on and trying to get bigger and everything, I actually felt like crap, if you know what I mean. So, so I've started swimming and I've started running 5 times a week in the mornings before work. So this time now, I'm going to keep doing the bodybuilding stuff, and I'm going to keep running just because. I felt horrific, mate. I felt so bad.
Yes, I'm a terrible runner. Like, I would much rather do calories on a ski erg than I would on than go for a run, because I'm just a terrible runner at the best of times. I'm getting better at it, but I can't stick some headphones in and go and run a 10K. Like, I literally. That's my worst nightmare. Tell me to go and do an hour's WOD with loads of burpees and stuff, and I'd much rather do that. Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? Different mentalities.
Doing a 5K run, which takes like 20 odd minutes, that's a long 20 minutes. Like a long 20 odd minutes. Or if it takes you 3/4 an hour to an hour to do a 10K, that is a long, hard. That's what she said. 45 minutes to an hour run. So I understand why people don't like it or find it difficult.
Some people love it, don't they? It's like they get this euphoria about
it. Mate. I'm not gonna lie, I quite like it. I'm trying to make it. harder for myself as well. So I'm going earlier and earlier, or later and later, when my body's not ready to do it, or like not up for doing it. And then I'll run without my headphones sometimes, just to make it different. Because also I find it harder without headphones. You can focus on your breathing more, and a bit more. Everything like that's a bit more apparent. But I'm just trying to make every run I do slightly different, so it's not the same.
Yeah.
Thing. Not necessarily the route, but how I do it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
But it's wicked though. Swimming was cool though. Starting swimming when it reopened.
Yeah.
It's a different story. I was just doing like 100-meter dash, minute break, and I'll just do that 10 times, and then afterwards I'm absolutely fried. Shoulders, everything, lats are just on fire.
Yeah, it's different though, isn't it? Like when I was at school playing sport, like if I went and played cricket, the next day my back would be sore, or if I went and did hockey for the first time, my hamstrings, my back would be sore. Like you go and do something, you can be cardiovascular fit, and then go say, right, you're now going to swim 10 lengths as quick as you can, and that person comes out the port, they are fucked and they're aching, and because it's different,
we do football.
Feeling.
We do football with our work probably once, twice, maybe sometimes 3 times a year. And that is like running on and off. You're not sprinting the whole time. And out of everyone on the pitch, I'm absolutely dead. And out of everyone on the pitch, I'm the only one who trains and goes to the gym. They just play football. But they're used to football, obviously.
Yeah, it's funny how the body kind of works in that way, I guess. So I've recently started playing hockey again. And it's the same concept, I get on you tell me to go and run 3 miles, I'd be slow, wouldn't be able to, I'd just kind of plod along. Put me on a hockey pitch, and by the end of the match, I run 3 miles, and I'm absolutely fine, because the body and the mind are thinking about someone else, and it's not just solely one foot in front of the other.
I think with the sport side of it as well, unintentionally, because you're playing a game, you're doing a sport, your mind is completely preoccupied on what you've got to do as well, not necessarily like the running and moving and dashing and stuff. You're focusing, if you're playing hockey, you're running out, you know what I mean? You don't even know how much you're doing, I guess.
It's interesting actually, because I've actually got one of the exercises I've got in my shoulder rehab that I'm doing at the moment is it's essentially a dumbbell floor press, one arm, because I've torn my shoulder, and if I do it lead flat, I get quite a bit of pain in my shoulder. I can still just about do the movement. So the guy I'm actually working with said, right, what I want you to do now is hold a glute bridge and then do it at the same time. And because your body and your receptors then have to think about a glute bridge and holding the hamstring, the glute, automatically it takes away pain from the shoulder, and actually you're able to do it.
Yeah, okay.
So does that make sense? It does. It's a bizarre thing, but if you can focus on something else while you're trying to do it, it's bizarre. If I go on the skier and I go, right, well, I've got to ski this amount of calories, I know that's 40 strokes, for example. I count 1 to 20 and then 20 back down to 1. I don't just, it gives my mind something to think about, so I'm not actually thinking.
I did that on my 24-hour fitness challenge thing. I kept doing, I broke down every single hour. I didn't look at it and go, oh, I've got like 10 hours left. I've got 9 hours left. I just focused on each individual hour, and I focused on 6-hour shifts. So midday to 6 to midnight. I kept doing that. So I was like, okay, what I'll do is running. I'm just going to keep this pace for about 10 minutes, go back about 10 minutes, run for 10 minutes, come back 10 minutes, do that 6 times. That's the hour. So I was just breaking down, and then all of a sudden the hour's done. Yeah, it's literally just breaking it down into, it's weird, just to make it easier and quicker in your head.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
It is, mate. Just wondered, Andrew, for the members and everybody who perhaps haven't met you properly, if we kind of go through your background and that, how you got into fitness and in general, stuff like
that. Yeah, so I spoke to you a little bit about it in the gym the other day. It goes back to when I was younger, so it goes actually back to way young. I played squash at a national level. I started when I was 4. My granddad got me into it, and I played up until I was 17. And I played for GB, and I used to love it. funnily enough, now I've not picked up a squash racket for years, but because you almost overdo it as a kid, you know, training 4 times a week, you know, it was bizarre. And then I said to you, unfortunately, when I was 17, I was due to go away on a rugby tour. And I just had this cough that was going on for about 6 weeks. And my mum said to me, for a, kind of like an instinct, she said, look, let's just go get you checked. You're going away to South Africa. Let's get you checked. And went into the doctor's surgery. And really lucky that my GP was an ex-hematologist, and he had a look at me and he said, look, you've got some glands up on your neck. And I was like, oh, kind of not seen them before. And I just kind of joked around with him. I was like, oh, what's that then? And he looked at me and he was like, oh, do you want to get your mum in? And I was like, oh, wow, okay. I joked with him and I was like, oh, is that some kind of cancer? And he was like, yeah, it is. And it turned out I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. 3 days later, I had a biopsy, and 7 days later, I had my first chemotherapy.
Very quick.
And that really quick, really quick. Because once they did all the scans and stuff, I was about stage 4, so I was actually really late stage on catching it. And it's one of those things that it was just a pure cough, and I had never noticed a lump, and it was bizarre. Very, very kind of 0 to 100 miles an hour week. And yeah, I started training in the gym off the back of that, really. I actually started training while I was undergoing chemotherapy, because I wanted to get fitter, because I thought that would aid with my kind of recovery and my chemotherapy.
Yeah, of course.
I still tried to play sport when I was at school. You know, I would be on the hockey pitch and I would last, you know, 2 minutes, and I'd have to come off because I was absolutely gassed. Because obviously that's what all the drugs and that do to you. I wasn't able to play rugby because of it. And yeah, I started going to the gym after that. I had 6 months of chemotherapy. They did some more scans and they said, you've got to do 3 more months of it because it hadn't all gone. So I had 3 more months of chemotherapy, which was once a week on a Friday. I'd go into Musgrave and have it. Then they gave me the all clear after those 9 months, which I thought was great. And I kind of continued my training, started to get in the gym a bit more, take some supplements, you know, was enjoying that. And obviously I had to do a lot to reverse it because I'd had chemotherapy. I'd lost all my hair. I'd got fat from the steroids. Then I was actually playing squash, and I must have been about 3 months after I'd been given the all clear, played squash. And I just got a really tight chest, and I was like, wow, what's this? And it just got tighter and tighter, and I couldn't breathe. And I ended up going to A&E. And they thought I was having some kind of heart attack or like whatever it was. And they re-scanned me, and it turned out that my cancer had spread, basically. And I still don't know to this day what happened, really, whether it was a misreading of putting me in remission or not, or whether I just got an accelerated, aggressive spread. But it kind of gone into my diaphragm, my spleen, lungs, and then it was kind of panic stations, really. So I ended up having another chemotherapy for a year, where I had to go into hospital for 4 days every month, and you'd be on a drip for 4 days solid. That cleared up a little bit, but not fully. So I ended up having a stem cell transplant, which back in those days was really early in terms of the research and what people knew about it. Obviously, you see athletes these days, they can go to some exotic place and have a stem cell transplant if they want to recover better or fix a shoulder problem or a knee problem quicker. But yeah, that stem cell part of it was ultimately what saved my life, really. And I was in isolation for 3 months in a room, no one allowed in or out except a nurse in full equipment. So in terms of isolation, it wasn't actually that hard because I've been through that experience before previously. And I was literally confined to a 4 meter by 4 meter room. But I continued to train. I continued to, that gave me like a real positive mindset on life, I guess, that kind of period of my life. And for me, being able to train through it although when I was having chemotherapy and having bad days, I couldn't do anything. Even if it was me picking up some dumbbells, doing 10 bicep curls, I thought I'd achieve something that day. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, just moving, being active.
Yeah, off the back of that, I scraped my way through school because I was kind of there, I wasn't kind of there, and I was really lucky to get like an exceptional circumstances view to where I could go and I could go to university and go and do a foundation degree. So I ended up going to Hartpury University, and I decided to study in strength conditioning and sports rehab. And then the gym kind of kicked on from there. So that was kind of the motivation to, right, you're doing strength conditioning, you've got to get in shape. And then once you start doing something and you find the love for it and you find the bug, you want to wake up, you want to train, you want to eat well. And it's just getting that mindset around that. So although a long-winded answer, because there's a lot to explain, my training's kind of been fueled from a love of sport, from having an illness, and then kind of getting an addiction to it, if that kind of makes sense to you.
Yeah, it makes complete sense, mate. I guess the age you were as well, being, playing sport and everything like that, all your classmates and your friends were able to continue and everything. So like that for me, because I was never into sport as a kid, you see, all my friends were into like music and stuff like that. But if my friends were into sport and stuff, I'd want to move. I'd want to try, not like stay up, competing with them and everything. But like if I was unable to do that sort of stuff, I would want to just move in any way whatsoever. So as you said earlier, just performing some curls or something, just standing up and doing some movement, some exercise and stuff. And as you said, like that, you were thinking that was going to aid it in some sort of way, being active.
Yeah.
I completely get that, bud. Completely. Like, even if it's not a physical illness, just, some people would find going out for a run would completely change their day, if you know what I mean. Some, like for me personally, I can have a bad day. When I say bad, just bad from my perspective.
Yeah.
Go out and blast out half hour, 20 minutes or something, come back and I'll be in a complete different mind, complete different attitude and everything towards everything as well.
Yeah. So like for me, it was, so as part of the chemotherapy, I couldn't have a cannula put into my arm. So I ended up having what's called a Hickman line. So essentially you look like a robot because you have these wires that come straight out of your chest. It's actually a direct link into your heart. So these wires come out of your chest and they just hang there so they can put the drugs in and out, take bloods really quickly. The drugs go directly into the heart and get pumped around, that way. And I actually, just to add to the kind of sorrow, I actually got sepsis in my lines, and I ended up having an emergency operation to remove it, which thankfully, went well. But after that, I then went on to have my stem cell transplant, and they said, right, you're going to be in this room for 3 months, take everything you need to do. And I rocked up, and I rocked up with a pair of dumbbells, and the nurse just kind of looked at me and went, what you got them for? And I was like, I'm going to work out. And she's like, you're crazy. Like, we've never seen anyone that's able to.
I think that'd be quite normal, you see. But for me, that's exactly what I'd do. But
you've got to, haven't you? Like, you don't want to be that person. I never wanted to be that person when I went through it that'd be like, feel sorry for me. I just want to be down. And, my support network from my family, my friends, everyone was great in that sense. And I didn't need any kind of extra support because that was everything for me. My friends would visit me, they'd stay in contact, I'd see them at school, but I never once thought I was ever, even though it was quite late stage and, it went on for a long period of time, I never kind of thought, well, this is going to be it. I always thought, right, well, when's it going to finish? When am I going to move on with my life? And that's kind of, and that's kind of the view that's led me into like, this period of lockdown is I want to kind of take that experience and be able to talk to people and say, right, well, we have to look at things positively in this kind of strange situation we're in, because there's no point in sitting there feeling sorry for ourselves, because no one's going to turn around to you and go, oh, it's going to be all right, it's going to be this. Like, don't get me wrong, we all have different issues. I know you've spoken about it with other people. We all have anxiety issues or panic issues or, you know, how we feel in this period. But, you know, I think it's so vital. And actually, I'll ask you a question, because someone asked me the other day and I didn't have an answer for it, and I couldn't put my finger on it. As someone, you know, who does what you do, is they went, why do you post all your stuff on social media? I went, what do you mean? They went, well, why do you post your workouts and what you do? And I couldn't really answer the question, because I know that no one looks at what I put on social media and go, oh yeah, great, he's doing that. People might look at it and go, oh, he's posted another thing, or he's posted that. But, you know, I'd be interested in your view on it, because I couldn't really answer the question. You know, I kind of like to do it because it's like, for me, it's accountability. So if I then post on social media, right, I'm going to do this every day, I'm going to tick boxes, I'm going to do that, I want to make sure I'm accountable for it. And like, accountability in this period of time is massive. So like, doing the stuff with Foxy on nutrition, I'm now accountable for 4 weeks on what I eat. So I've got someone to be accountable to. Me posting that I'm working out every day or doing something, I'm accountable to people. Now, they might not give a shit that I'm doing anything. Of course they won't. But the question just said, well, why do you post on social media? It's a bizarre question, and I don't, you know, that's something I've never really understand. But I don't know, what's your view on it?
Yeah, well, for me, back in like 2017, when I got into fitness, I think it's the same as anything. If I got into, this is going to be the most random example. If I got into like go-karting, my feed would be about go-karting because I'm just really into it. So doing classes in that back a few years ago, I loved going to the gym and doing stuff like that. It was my new hobby. So it was almost like, I did this today. Look what I did today. I did this and I felt great. And then when I transitioned to semi-working in like instructing and stuff, I saw it more of a free way to promote myself, obviously.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just spiraled from that, and it went more and more. Now on my personal page, I am one of those guys who hates it now. I'm not going to lie. I'm one of those guys who goes, cool, you did some push-ups, if you know what I mean. But I understand why people do it. So it's like fair play. But yeah, no, yeah, that's two different answers really. So yeah, number one was, it was my new hobby. You know, and same thing even a year ago when I got into Olympic lifting. I was obsessed with Olympic lifting. So it was almost like a progress thing, even if it was.
Yeah, but would you post about your Olympic lifting? Like, is it accountability, or is it like, for me, for example, if I go into the chamber and I do a real disgusting workout and I finish it, I kind of get an overroaring feeling of like a euphoria of like, fuck, I've done it. I'm fucking proud about it. I want to post about it.
Yeah, Russian.
But I don't expect people to then look at my post and go like, oh, I'm fucking proud for you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, not
you
a chance.
You don't know why you do it, but you want to show people that you're proud that you've done it. Does that make sense?
My goal with the Olympic lifting was I wanted to get a 100-kilo bar above my head. That was like my goal. And then when I did it, obviously, first thing I did was posted it, obviously.
Exactly.
I was just like buzzing. And like everyone would have been like, fair, scroll on, sort of thing. But then on the other hand, getting into fitness sort of stuff without trying to sound like I wanted to be Instagram famous or an influencer, that's half the reason why I got into fitness in the first place, is seeing other people doing it. And if you know what I mean, then that spiraled into me going, oh, not that I want to post about it, but I was like, I want to do that. That looks really good. That looks really enjoyable, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's a tough question. But yeah, there's plenty of people who do it for is vanity reasons the right word to say? Just post.
It's vanity, but then it's the same thing. Are they just wanting to show people that they're proud of the shape they've got in? You know, I'm not expecting me and you to suddenly be the new fucking fitness influencers of the Southwest. Do you know what I mean? But I put something up the other day, like a little video about how we can try and be positive in the next lockdown and stuff. And I'm not doing that because I'm expecting the world to think I'm, the next best thing in terms of telling people what to do. But I want all my friends to see that and for them to just take a little bit positive about it, because rather than me go and contacting them all individually, they can kind of look at that and go, yeah, he's right. But then you also get the 1% of people that look at him and go, what a fucking cock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I did a photo of just over a week ago, and I think it's just of me smiling, and the caption says something along the lines of, no matter what your goal is, etc. Have your goal. It doesn't matter what your goal is. So basically, I was in here on my own, in the gym on my own, doing handstand walks, and I got about 2 meters. So that's probably like 4 to 8 steps, and I did it, and I was just buzzing, mate. But obviously, there's people in our gym who can handstand walk just as well as they can walk on their feet. So my like few steps to them is like, okay, wow, he's did 8. But in my head, I was absolutely buzzing. But then to other people, 8 steps on your hand is unbelievable. So I posted it as if to say, some people are doing like couch to 5K sort of thing. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like, if that's making you feel great, cool. That's really good. And if you want to post about it because you feel good, just crack on and post it. I don't pay attention to the more negative side of things on that.
No, but I think why. Here's a prime example, and I'm not. So I went to university with a guy called James Smith, who is quite big influencer in terms of Instagram at the moment.
The James.
Pardon?
The James Smith.
Yeah, the blonde guy that swears his mouth off at everything.
Yeah, I like that guy a lot.
And when he first started out, people used to just watch his videos and go, "What a prick!"
Oh
you know, what an idiot! What's he doing? The second he gets famous, people are suddenly like, "He's the next best thing." Oh, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? Like, it's such pot kettle black. I've got a friend at the moment who's trying to start a YouTube channel. Like, and you know what? Fair play. It's something that's viable, and he's made a bloody good effort of it. But everyone in and around his friendship group, even if you can call them friends anymore, do you know what I mean? Just go like, oh, what the fuck's he doing that for? Like, but the second if he's successful and he's suddenly got millions of followers and he's got millions of pounds, suddenly they want to be friends with him again. It kind of like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's such like pot kettle black, and like, I think that's why it's so important, especially with social media, and like, especially at this kind of time as well, is like, why, if you can be anything, be nice. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't just be that person that wants to comment on everyone's video and put them down, because you can have 100 people say, fucking, that's amazing, well done. But you can have that one person that goes, what are you doing, you prick? And you kind of, that's sticks with you over.
That's the one you read and remember, basically, yeah.
Because that's just the way we're programmed. And, it was just something that popped up to me the other day. And I thought, do you know what? Like, I thought I'd ask you, because you are the head of social media. So,
in general, just social media. I'm ahead.
Social media guru.
I completely agree with everything you said there, mate. With because my attitude towards it is, I don't get any negative comments. I've got a couple like direct messages before, and my thing is, well, you didn't have to watch it. You didn't have to read what I wrote. Just crack on and scroll on, sort of thing. And then in my head, I'm like, I'm not like, for the social media stuff, for my own personal page as well. It's not like I'm getting paid for it. if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah, but mate, going off of what you were saying earlier about, your recovery and everything, get back into training, back to normal life with training and everything. What is your main like source of motivation now, like today? Then is it just to better yourself constantly, to be better, or just to generally forever be active?
I just think it always goes back to the original source of it, is that, don't get me wrong, I can go for weeks and weeks and weeks and just binge on crap food, and my brain kicks in and it says, well, you can, it's going to sound really low, but you can eat yourself to death. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can consume so much crap that your body internally, I could be shredded, but my internal visceral fat or my internal organs are screaming out for some good food, because and I think that I go back to then, I think, right, well, you've already been through all of that. Like, life's so short. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that no one should ever eat a chocolate bar again. Like, it's an absolute balance, and that's where you've got to be, as people, we've got to be careful about how we manage that. But my brain automatically switches back and goes, well, fuck, you've had a second chance at life in a way, and you've got to smash it. And without sounding really cheesy, but the environment that we train in within that gym it's a good environment. It is, in terms of the environment that everyone's working hard, and when other people around you are working hard, it makes you want to work hard. Like, I don't go in that gym and go, right, well, I'm going to half-ass a workout, or I'm going to be lazy. And that's why, like, when I train with whoever I train with, like, they're good for me. Like, they'll push me. Doing a workout together pushes you, you know. And the stuff that people post, or the strength board or stuff like that, it pushes you to want to be better. And for me, it's always been aesthetics. So if you go back to when I was ill, I'm a 17-year-old kid, got no hair, fat because of steroids, and you kind of feel like shit. So for me, you always then get a picture in your head of, right, well, I want to be this, and I want to actually prove that I can get to this.
Yeah.
And that it's always been aesthetics for me. I've always been a naturally strong person, in terms of like my body to weight ratio. I could always lift quite a bit of weight, but I'd much rather look better than be strong, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. I got like a new one really. I've spent like loads of months and months and months trying to get bigger and look basically bodybuilder-esque, mate. Yeah, but obviously there's so much fucking work and effort and determination needed to do that, diet-wise as well, obviously. But my new thing, mate, I've just all of a sudden realised I feel good when I do certain exercises.
Yeah.
For me, instantly outweighs the looking better to me, but most people won't even notice the difference. But I think I look better, but not feel as good. So I'd rather do that. And then I watched that Down to Earth of Zac Efron documentary as well, where he's on about, it's not actually what the documentary is about, but he's on about how when he did Baywatch and got ridiculously shredded, he wasn't massive. He was, I can't remember how much he said he weighed. And like, he only had like 12-inch biceps. So he's not even a big bloke, but he was just really lean. And he said it was torturous. He says it was horrible. He said it was like the worst 8 months of training of his life. He's got barely visible abs now, way more than that, but he still looks good. But he says, I feel amazing.
Yeah, he's also got a chiseled jaw and a lot of money, so he's got a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, so my view was like, he's like one of the absolute top dogs in like Hollywood, and even he's like, he said he hasn't quit Hollywood. He's quit that side of Hollywood, if you know what I mean. So, and I was like, that's even someone at that level is saying how much effort it is to look like that. And I'm like, and I'm not in Hollywood. I'm in Wellington, Somerset.
Yeah, but I think we mentally think.
I just tried to pull it back a bit. I'd rather not look as amazing, but feel better. But half the time, mate, I think it's in your head. Like, in my head, I could look a bit more ripped than normal, but you wouldn't notice at all. But it might.
But we as humans and people that train in the gym are the worst for it, is that we can see small things and we're immediately, I can look in the mirror and go, fuck, look at that, like, you're a state, like, sort yourself out. And for me, for me, if I take my top off in the gym, that's a massive thing for me. And like, I'm really bad for other people worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
So whether that be a social media post, whether that be someone thinking about what's he wearing or how does he look as a person, that really worries me as a character. Like, and I shouldn't let it bother me, but as a person I do, and I can't explain why. Do you know what I mean? And it's, I'd love to be that kind of person that can fucking whip their top off and have an 8-pack, and but to get there, as you say, it's a long, hard grind.
Not just that, mate, to maintain it as well.
Yeah, and I think 100%, and like, that's why, if you speak to Foxy, or I think myself as well, we got the same kind of view that if you're going to lose weight or get in that shape, you've got to do it gradually. There's no point in doing it over a quick 8 weeks and then suddenly you look that way, and then suddenly you put it all back on again and you feel shit. It's the same as taking steroids. You could take steroids and get massive for 8 weeks, stop them, shrink back down again, and then you're mentally back in the same place, then you've got to go back on them again, and it's kind of like a vicious circle. So you've got to do whatever you do in that sense, you've got to do it gradually. But for me personally, I've got to kind of get comfortable with myself. And when I do feel comfortable, you know, don't get me wrong, there are times where I do feel comfortable and I do like the shape I'm in, but it kind of flips because I think, oh well, you look really big at the moment up top, but then you think, yeah, but you're fat, so then go and sort that out. So then you try and lose weight, but then you lose muscle and go, well, where's your fucking muscle gone? And it's kind of like it's an absolute merry-go-round of emotion, you know, training in a gym from my point of view.
I get you, mate. I can see, mate, we've got about 2 minutes left before the chat dies. So one last tiny question. What's the first thing you're going to train when you come back into the gym?
If I get my shoulder right, which I hopefully can do in 4 weeks, I'm definitely benching because I've not benched in I don't know, two months.
Oh, mate, you're going to have a sore chest if you get back in doing that then.
I did some rehab the other day on it, which had some chest involved, and I had to do a ski at the end, and I almost had to stop because I had like chest cramp. I was like holding my tit in the gym for like 5 minutes after. It was killing me. But yeah, definitely do some bench and definitely do some sweaty wads.
Nice, wicked. All right, mate. Cheers for coming on, 40. That was wicked to speak to you.
All right, mate.
Get you on a numbers video, I reckon, soon as well.
Yep.
That's cool. Well, I will catch up with you next time then, bud.
Yes.
I'll see you later.
Stay safe, mate.
You too.